Ra was the creator god. He was one of the first to emerge in Egyptian mythology. Ra created earth, heaven, and the underworld, as well as all the gods' living creatures that inhabit these worlds.
Osiris is one of Egypt's most important deities, was the god of the underworld. He also symbolized death, resurrection, circle of the Nile floods, and Egypt relied on for agricultural fertility. According to the myth, Osiris was a king of Egypt who was murdered.
Depicted as a falcon or as a man with falcon head, Horus was a sky god associated with war and hunting. He was also the embodiment of the divine kingship. In some eras, the reigning king was considered to be a manifested of Horus.
Montu was a falcon god of war in ancient Egyptian religion, an embodiment of the conquering vitality of the pharaoh. He was particularly worshipped in Upper Egypt in the district of Thebes.
Nu is a goddess of the sky, stars, cosmos, astronomy, and the universe in ancient Egyptian religion. She was depicted wearing the water pot sign that identifies her. Nu is comparable to the Mesopotamia god, the Lady of Heaven, also sharing her role as a mother of the gods.
Next, we will be discussing the 12 Roman gods. The 12 Roman gods were Jupiter, Juno, Mars, Mercury, Neptune, Venus, Apollo, Diana, Minerva, Ceres, Vulcan, and Vesta.
Jupiter was a sky god who Romans believed oversaw all aspects of life. He is thought to have originated from the Greek god Zeus. Jupiter also has concentrated on protecting the Roman state. Military commanders would pay him homage to Jupiter at his temple after winning a battle.
Neptune was the Roman god of waters and seas, who controlled winds and storms. Also known as Neptunus Equester, he was recognized as a god of horses and horsemanship, as well as a patron of horse racing, a popular form of entertainment for the ancient Romans.
Saturn was a god of time, generation, dissolution, abundance, wealth, agriculture, periodic renewal, and liberation.
Apollo was a Roman god that inspired music, poetry, and artistic creativity. A lawgiver and healer, Apollo brought order to humankind. It was the source of all medical knowledge. Furthermore, Apollo served as chief patron of prophets and the source of the gift of prophecy. Diana, in Roman religion, goddess of wild animals and the hunt, identified with the Greek goddess Artemis. Her name is akin to Latin words dium, sky, and dies, daylight. Like her Greek counterpart, she was also a goddess of domestic animals.
Juno was a Roman goddess of marriage, home, and family. Juno was a champion of women and protector of the Roman state. She was married to Jupiter, king of all gods.
Minerva in Roman religion is the goddess of handicrafts, the professions, the arts, and latter war. She was commonly identified with the Greek Athena. Some scholars believe that her cult was the Athena introduced at Rome from Etera.
Mars was a god of war and also an agriculture guardian. A combination characteristic of early Rome, he was the son of Jupiter and Juno. Mars loved violence and conflict. He was seen as representing military power and the noise and blood of battle.
Ceres was a goddess of agriculture, grain crops, fertility, and mother relationships. Ceres is the only one of Rome's many agricultural deities to be listed among the D2 Consentes.
Mercury was the god of translation and interpreters. He was the most clever of the Olympian gods and served as a messenger for all the other gods. Mercury was the god of commerce, communication, and travel. The patron of thieves, messengers, and merchants, he was also responsible for convoying souls in the underworld. Vesta is a virgin goddess of home and family. In Roman mythology, Vesta was the firstborn of the Titans' daughters to Saturn and Op. Vesta also had powers of fire creation and control. Vesta can generate fire at will. She has precise control over shape, position, light, and temperature of the fire. Nu was considered to be the first being with the ability to procreate and create of all mankind. Being the mother of all humans, she was considered a very important deity. She has a hand in a number of stories, but is most commonly associated with China's creation myth and for saving humanity by mending a hole in the sky after a great flood. The Jade Emperor was considered to be the ruler of heaven. He was thought to be like a human emperor in that he ruled over a heavenly court populated by all the important gods of China. Ixia is a fertility goddess responsible for the dawn and guardian of mothers and young children. Her full name means Her Majesty of the Blue Dawn. During the Great Flood of China, Ixia was the deity who set the river back into place, saving the lives of many people in China. She is mostly worshipped in the northern regions of China.
Kai-Shen is the god of wealth and money. He is honored in both Taoism and Chinese folklore, especially during the Chinese New Year festivities, when people are eager to see Kai-Shen bless their coming year with prosperity. According to myth, Kai-Shen rode a black tiger and carried a golden cudgel that could turn iron into gold. He was believed to be incarnated into few historical figures throughout the centuries, taking the form of key political and military figures. Kai-Shen was able to use his tremendous wealth to advance political motives. Shang-Chi is a goddess in Chinese mythology who is often associated with the moon. According to legend, Shang-Chi was originally a beautiful woman, mortal, who drank an elixir of immortality and was transformed into a goddess, banished to the moon for betraying her husband. She is often depicted as a graceful woman holding a rabbit, which is said to be her companion on the moon. In Chinese mythology, there are several dragon kings, each associated with a different body of water such as rivers, lakes, and seas. However, the most well-known dragon king is Long Guang, which means dragon king in Chinese. Long Guang is believed to be the ruler of the four seas, which encompass the four cardinal directions of north, south, east, and west. In Chinese culture, Long Guang is often depicted as a powerful and benevolent dragon, the ability to control water and weather. He is also sometimes associated with the Chinese zodiac sign of the dragon, which is considered to be an auspicious symbol of power and good luck. Now we will be discussing some of the more important gods in Greek mythology. Zeus is the king of the gods in ancient Greek mythology. He is often depicted as a mature man with a white beard, holding a thunderbolt or scepter, and wearing a crown or a robe. Zeus is the god of the sky, lightning, thunder, and storms, as well as the protector of oaths and hospitality. Poseidon is the Greek god of the sea, earthquakes, and horses, often depicted as a bearded man holding a trident, which is the signature weapon. In Greek mythology, Poseidon is the brother of Zeus and Hades, and together they divided the world among themselves after defeating the Titans. Poseidon is associated with the power of unpredictability of the sea, and sailors and seafarers would often pray to him. Hades is the Greek god of the underworld and the dead. He is one of the 12 Olympian gods and is often depicted as a stern, dark figure with a beard and helmet that makes him invisible. Hades is known for his grim and gloomy realm, which is the final resting place for the souls of the dead. He is also associated with the wealth and precious metals that come to the earth, such as gold and silver. In some myths, Hades is portrayed as a cruel and fearsome ruler, while in others he is depicted as a more passive figure who is simply doing his duty. Aphrodite is the Greek goddess of love, beauty, pleasure, and procreation. Aphrodite is associated with romantic love, and her influence is felt in all forms of desire, including physical attraction and emotional attachment. She is also associated with fertility and childbirth, and many women would pray to her for help in conceiving and giving birth to healthy children. Hermes is the god of commerce, communication, travelers, and thieves. He is the son of Zeus and the nymph Maya, and he is also known for his speed and cunning. He is the messenger of the gods and is responsible for delivering messages between the gods and mortals. Hermes is associated with trade and commerce, and often was invoked by merchants and traders for good luck and success in business. He is also the patron of travelers, and many ancient Greek travelers would pray to him for a safe journey. Now we will be comparing and contrasting all the gods throughout the cultures we have discussed. Throughout all the gods that we have talked about, one role seems to stand out, and those are the sky gods. Despite their differences in appearance and cultural context, all of these sky gods share similar attributes such as power, authority, and control over the elements of the sky and weather. They are also all associated with the concept of divine rulership and often play a significant role in the creation of maintenance of the world. Throughout all the mythologies that we have discussed, two seem to differ greatly, and that is Greek and Egyptian. For example, Greek mythology has 12 major gods and goddesses, known as the Olympians, while Egyptian mythology has a more complex and extensive pantheon of gods and goddesses that vary depending on region and time period. Another major difference that we have been able to come upon is the creation myth. In Greek mythology, the world was created by the Titans, who were later overthrown by the Olympian gods. But in contrast, Egyptian mythology, the world was created by the god Atum, who emerged from the primordial waters of chaos and created the world through a process of self-generation. But on the other hand, as you may have been able to notice, the similarities between Greek and Roman mythology are striking. This is all due to the strong influence of Greek culture on the Romans. For example, many of the myths and legends of Roman mythology are adapted from Greek mythology, with the same or similar stories and characters appearing in both mythologies. For example, the story of the Trojan War and the hero Odysseus are both featured in both Greek and Roman mythology. The one mythology that stood out to us is Chinese mythology. This is because it is distinct in several ways due to its unique and cultural context, history, and beliefs. Some of the ways Chinese mythology stands out is ancestor worship, Taoist and Confucian influences, emphasis on mortals, symbols and animals, and historical context. One of the key points we want to focus on for Chinese mythology is the Taoist and Confucian influences. Chinese mythology is heavily influenced by the Taoist and Confucian philosophies, which emphasize the concepts of yin and yang, balance and harmony, and the importance of mortality and social order. But in contrast to those beliefs, they also have an emphasis on immortals. Chinese mythology features a prominent cast of immortal figures such as the 8 immortals and the Queen Mother of the West. In conclusion, while each mythology is unique in its own way, there are certain commonalities and shared themes that unite them. From the gods and goddesses of Greek and Roman mythology to the emphasis on ancestor worship in Chinese mythology and the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth in Egyptian mythology, there are many points of comparison across different mythologies. These similarities reflect the human desire to understand the world around us, to grapple with the fundamental questions of existence and meaning, and to create stories and legends that speak to the complexities of the human experience. While each mythology is different, they all share a common goal: to make sense of the world and our place around it.